Hi all. In this video I'm going to be talking about digital storytelling chapter 3 as well as the Q&A with Bushman. First of all, I would like to say that I apologize for the stock photo that I'm going to be using here, but I just couldn't think of anything more interesting that I could use to explain convergence. And secondly, I do want to mention that this is probably one of my least favorite chapters in the textbook because Miller takes a tone that says, convergence can't be explained as kind of anything. And then she explains what convergence is in relation to digital storytelling and doesn't really make it clear that she's flipped that switch to say, it can't be explained to, and here I am explaining it. So I want you to just sort of gloss over her wishy-washiness and focus on what she does provide examples of that are relevant to our course. So first of all, I do want to draw your attention to, on page 45, the first sentence underneath digitizing of content. She says, in order for convergence to be possible, the content must be available in digital form. So do focus on that sentence. Like, that is going to be our primary concern when we're thinking about convergence. Not all the different things convergence can be so that we can't define it, but in the ways that we can define it in relation to digital storytelling. So then I want to turn your attention to page 46. First of all, she talks about, again, she reviews the processes that content goes through when a new medium is being developed, digital storytelling, a new medium is being developed. And I do think that that list is important enough that we need to review it, that there are the 3 stages. This was part of your quiz for last week. First, repurposing, when you just take content from an earlier medium and just slap it wholesale into the new medium. We saw that a lot in the early stages of the internet where people were just digitizing content that they had on paper and then, posting it on the internet. And we quickly moved beyond that to adaptation, where you take the older forms of a medium and you adapt it and you modify it for ways in which it can be useful in a new medium. And that's what Welcome to Sanditon is really going to be focusing on. We're going to be talking about a lot as we move forward. What happens when you take a print medium and then convert it into a transmedia experience. And we'll be talking more about what transmedia digital storytelling is. And then finally, we have the creation of a totally new genre that is specifically designed for the new medium. And again, we'll be talking about that more in the future. So do remember those 3 steps. Now, back to convergence and what it is. I think that the 4 components that she lists on page 46 is really important, and those are going to be the 4 components that we're going to focus on as we move forward. So convergence might be regarded as a 4-part formula, a compound that requires 4 elements or types of ingredients to work. These are 1, a communication delivery system via satellite, cellular, dial-up, cable, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or some other means. So here we have a picture of a laptop, and as most of us know, we need either the Wi-Fi or an Ethernet cable to hook us up to the internet so that we can actually get to the content. Just owning your laptop is not enough. As anyone who knows, when they go out of range has experienced, you have to have the communications delivery system. Then 2, we need hardware, such as a TV set, a game console, a wireless device, or a computer. So the hardware, of course, is what is hidden behind this fancy case that we touch. That would be an example of like the integrated circuits or microchips that Haraway talks about in her integrated circuit portions of of her article that I explain in the videos on her article later when you get to those. Then we need digitized content, data such as text, audio, graphics, video, or animation. So that's what we get to, what we access when we go on Skype and we make a phone call, or when We go to this webpage here and find out what the weather is in Los Angeles, or we get on Twitter. It's the actual content, the things that people are saying. We need that information in order to achieve convergence. And then finally, we need the computerized technology to access, manipulate, or interact with the content. So we need the keyboards, we need the touch screens, we need the touch pads so that we can actually get in here and interact with the digital contact that we're connecting to on the hardware that is our computer, that is being sent to us over the communication system, delivery systems such as Wi-Fi or however it is that you're getting your information at that point, cellular or whatever. So those are the 4 parts of convergence that are important to us here as we're talking about digital storytelling. She goes through the rest of the chapter giving lots of good information and examples to explain various ways in which convergence works depending on the medium. Of course, there's a couple of things I disagree with her about, which I will be touching on here in a second. But first of all, she talks about transmedia storytelling. And again, she's doing a little bit of a review, refers back to chapter 2. This is on page 50. That's where I currently am at the moment, where she says that transmedia is a single entertainment property that is merged over multiple forms of media, at least one of which is interactive. The definition that I really like of transmedia is that it must be in at least 3 different platforms. So typically what you get is a game or a web series, on YouTube, and then maybe a platform such as Twitter or Facebook that's integrated. Sometimes they have print auxiliaries. It can be transmedia, and part of it can be actually in an analog form, such as a print book. Additionally, I do want to make sure that you also understand that a transmedia project can involve a live component. So any of the, VidCom or various kinds of role-playing, when people go and they dress up as their favorite characters at a conference, or if there's a meet and greet with the actors and the actresses that are part of the game or part of the video series, that is also considered another platform. So again, in order to have transmedia storytelling, you do need to have at least one component that is, using convergence, which is digital, but then you can also have print or live components as well. So think about platforms widely, where they can be digital, print, and in real person. So at least one of the platforms must be interactive, though. And I believe she's using that term, and I use that term as to say interactive through digital content. So that's an important thing. I do want to say that on page 50, the last sentence in the last full paragraph, I do disagree with. Miller states, unlike the cross-media approach, however, an adaptation is not something that is developed simultaneously for several media. Instead, it is just a retelling of the same story, a way to get more mileage out of good material. I disagree with her limiting the story to say adaptation cannot occur over several media, especially because I do view Welcome to Sanditon as an adaptation of Austen's Sanditon, which is why it was so important, and is still important if you haven't done so yet, that you read the novel and then apply that information to Welcome to Sanditon. So on page 51, she talks about, she kind of contradicts herself here. And I think this second sentence in the second full paragraph applies to Welcome to Sanditon well. In adapting a novel into a movie, for instance, you must figure out how to translate passive descriptive material and internal monologues into a visual narrative told through dramatic action. You also have to pare down or eliminate an abundance of plot and characters. And then she switches to games. And I think this is going to be important when we go to Welcome to Sanditon, because you're going to find that some of the characters disappear. And other characters are replaced by new characters. And the big reason for this, Jay Bushman does discuss in his Q&A that is assigned for this week for us to get ready for watching Welcome to Sanditon. Before we watch Welcome to Sanditon this week, I do want you to read this article. It gives you a good overview of what Welcome to Sanditon is, why they chose to adapt Austen's material, and the different parts of the web series and transmedia storytelling that they leverage, and also some of the choices that they made. It explains why they made them. It also gives you links to some of the other pages that are related to Welcome to Sanditon, and I do encourage you to follow through on them. You'll get some more information about the background of the story and how there's some issues with transmedia storytelling and the blurring of fact and fiction, what's real, what's not real. There's some interesting little tidbits in there that will help you to understand Welcome to Sanditon and why it is told the way that it is. One thing I wanted to draw your attention to on page 52, she talks about this German film, Run, Lola, Run. If you have not watched this movie before already, I highly encourage you to watch it. It is a fascinating movie, and it's a lot of fun. And if you're into games and gaming, or like myself, I'm not really into gaming. I simply don't have the time to game because I knew that if I started gaming, I would neglect my friends, family, and livelihood. So it's a really good movie. It has a very good soundtrack, and it blends animation and real life, and then also the concept of being able to do your life over a couple of times and try to get the game right. So I do highly encourage you to watch that movie in some of your free time. And then, also on page 52, she mentions how with convergence, we see the influence of how the computer has influenced the way we watch TV. And I want you to be thinking about that as you watch Welcome to Sanditon next week. There's a lot of how the story is told that has taken its cue visually from the way in which our news is framed these days, with insets of people talking to other people, and then also scrolling information that you can click on, and other things like that. So we can see how the internet is influencing how we visually tell stories in a medium that people can see and that is also interactive. Okay? So do make sure that you read chapter 3 entirely if you have not already. The examples in there help to explain her theories, and this is all going to be important for your assignment that is now posted on our WordPress page. I will be explaining the assignment at the end of the final video because you need to you need to read chapter 3, watch this video, and also read Jay Bushman's Q&A, as well as read the difficult but explainable Cyborg Manifesto that I'm going to cover in the next 2 videos. But do make sure you read all of them. The videos are not a replacement for reading, and this is all going to build up together so that you can understand exactly what's being asked of you in your assignment this week that you're going to be posting on WordPress, as well as your reflection in Moodle. Okay?